Yep, everything's ready to go. Hey, so one of the things that I wanted to kind of talk with you about, if we have time, is the rumor mill that's been happening with the San Antonio Spurs and the city. Looks like talks are picking up about that arena downtown.
Yeah, whether or not tax money would be needed for it.
Exactly, about the way that they were going to go about getting the money to build this arena and what it means for the revitalization of downtown, and not only for downtown but for Spurs fans as a whole, because like you and me are a certain age, so is Jeff, and one of the things that we have a memory of is going downtown, being able to watch those Spurs games in that Hemisphere Arena. It was a different vibe, a different feel, being able to traverse, go downtown, be in the center of the city, and being able to watch a game. Because afterwards, what's important? Being able to do something.
Right. And we weren't even like old enough to drink or do anything.
No.
Yeah, we could talk about that.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's the appeal is being able to do something after the game. Right? What can you do after the game over there on the east side of town where the arena sits currently?
It was rock and brews, baby.
Yeah, but I'm saying beyond that, and that's what we'll get into. We're going to also be talking with Jeff Garcia, who's going to be joining us today.
Oh, that's right.
We're going to be talking a little bit about NBA free agency. We're also going to be talking about Spurs rumors with the one and only Jeff Garcia, who has celebrated 8 years of doing Locked On Spurs. So we congratulated him yesterday. And, if you haven't, make sure you go ahead and give him some words of encouragement. That's a big accomplishment to be able to do a podcast for 8 solid years. So congratulations to Jeff. Sam Salinas. Morning, boys. What's up, Sam? Say it, Joe. We're getting old. Chris Gonzalez says, my niece hurts. Just saying, going downtown. Spurs talk. Yes, please. John G. Sam Salinas. I remember my dad taking me to a game in Hemisphere front row during Minnesota's expansion season.
Welcome to another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
What's up, San Antonio? What's up, South Texas? This is the Alamo City Sportscast coming at you from beautiful San Antonio, Texas. Your home of the Spurs, the Roadrunners, San Antonio FC, UIW, Trinity Tigers, all of that. I'm a Holmes High School grad, UTSA grad. My name's Mike Jimenez. West Campus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
correct?
South San West Campus, Budo West Side over here, man.
That's right. Joe Garcia producing today's show.
And we are 957 subscribers strong today. Woke up and we had a few more.
957. So much so, by the way, did you know that the last 2 days combined cumulatively is the best 2-day total of viewers we've ever had?
It's crazy. Something happened, man. I was looking at the stats too, just as you do, right? And the growth that we've had is like 723%, dude. It's insane.
I mean, a lot of it's because, we're doing a good job over here, Joe. It's the content. People like what we're talking about. It's the word of mouth, people understanding that we do exist. Dude, we've gone to places. We had that party over at Pete's place last week for the Spurs NBA draft.
People.
And people were like, dude, you're on the air? I'm like, yeah, me and Joe doing our thing.
Yeah.
We're having guests on. We've had Goldberg. We've had the Von Erichs. We've had Frank Harris.
Jesse James Leha.
We had the homeboy from that movie with
Big Puppet.
Big Puppet. There you go.
Danny De La Paz.
We have a potential big one next week as well. So we've got a lot going on.
Look, we got a first-time viewer watching us. Thanks for watching.
Very nice.
Lord Czar watching us from YouTube. Thanks for watching.
We go for about an hour and a half. We do sports. We do pop culture. We do nostalgia. We have a lot to get into today. LeBron James got the bag last night. But again, not only did he get the bag, so did his son, Bronny James.
But does he deserve it,
Does he deserve it? We'll get into that. Caitlyn Clark is a turnover machine. My goodness, man. And last night.
But you can't stop watching.
Can't stop watching. Last night, I had a long conversation with my good friend James Pledger at 11 o'clock at night.
Were you hiding?
No, I wasn't hiding. Because I had made mention of the fact that she's such a good player, but she's a turnover machine.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was that Pledge called me. Complete apologist, kind of like Matt Lerma, who follows us on this show, is an apologist for Pop.
Oh, dude, my boy Matt.
Everything that I heard about Caitlyn Clark, the apologists have come out. last night, Kelsey Plum just took Caitlyn to town. Former San Antonio
As she
Silver
should.
Star.
She's a vet and she's still prime.
Now, Caitlyn did make the All-Star team. 2 rookies made the All-Star team.
She's even been to the Olympics.
Yes. But Kelsey Plum going back. Kelsey Plum had an amazing game.
Oh, yeah.
Caitlyn Clark made the All-Star team, right? 2 rookies made it. The other rookie, Angel Reese. And Angel Reese is breaking records within the WNBA. Is it possible? Because I'm going to Vegas tomorrow. One of the first bets I'm going to make is Rookie of the Year in the WNBA. I never thought I'd say that. I want to get that 7-1 odds.
I'd put all in on Angel Reese.
On Angel Reese, okay? Because I think right now, if it ended right now, Caitlyn Clark would win Rookie of the Year. But I think it's so close.
Angel Reese is catching fire, dude.
Remember what happened in the NBA? Chet Holmgren was the leader,
the favorite,
the first 2-3 months of the season, and then Wemby took over.
It's those head-to-head matches that mean so much.
Yeah.
You know?
So
he just snatched it. He just snatched it from Chet. Remember when he had that block and took a soul?
And oddly enough, we talked about the best 2-day total of views that we've ever had.
Yeah.
The prior best 2-day total was after that. It was after Chet and Wemby went at it, and Wemby snatched his soul on that one last shot that could have tied the game, and Wemby stuffed Chet Holmgren at the top of the key. That's what it was.
Chet didn't want that smoke.
Friday, we're going to have a new experience here. I'm not going to be in on Friday.
Yeah.
I'll be in Vegas, but Spernandez will be here with you, Joe. You're going to be taking phone calls for the first time.
We're going to be taking phone calls. So it's not like we're going to be taking phone calls for the whole show. We're going to have a segment where we'll go ahead and present a scenario to the fan base, right? And we'll let them go ahead and chime in and give us their feedback, you know, because it's important to include the fans into the show itself, you know, and shout out to Sweep the League over there with, Sweep the League TV. Oh,
Lord Czar,
new
there you go. New subscriber. That is fantastic.
They started taking calls as well. So it's not an easy thing to take calls on a live show. So congrats to them as well. They're doing great things.
You know, we have a lot to get into. We talked about LeBron James a little bit. We're going to talk about Lori Markkanen because there I was last night reading newspapers from Salt Lake City to get their impression. Maybe the Spurs have more leverage than we think. We have a dance going on, right? The fact that the Jazz realize Lori Markkanen does not fit what they're doing, and Danny Ainge wants picks. Reports last night that it's really down to 2 teams, Golden State and the Spurs. Golden State trying to reload, but Golden State picked up some players. They're already killing their cap space. So what's going on when it comes to that? Maybe a third team comes around and gives the Warriors a break. We're going to get into that as well.
You know, it's funny to me too. I mean, one of the things that we are going to get into this morning is the Lakers and how they've just went all in with LeBron, right? Giving him that lucrative deal, probably the last deal of his career, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now they're at that second apron, man. They're like well above the luxury tax.
Yes, and now there's talks today about maybe LeBron takes a little bit less.
I don't know if he's going to do that.
To kind of help the team out.
I wouldn't. If you were LeBron, this was the last contract you're going to get. Why would you want to go ahead and say, I'm going to do you a solid?
Right.
You've done that probably throughout your career.
Because they did him a solid by drafting his son.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Come on, this is your last contract, man.
What's wrong with Jeremy Sochan's shot right now? Did you see that video?
It looks different. It looks good.
Dude, that looks awful.
Oh, come on.
We'll show that video of him.
It's not better than the one-handed?
Dude, it looks like Charles Barkley hitting a golf ball, dude. It's ugly. There's something going on with that. And speaking of Jeremy Sochan, I mentioned that James Pledger was on this show a couple of days ago. Second most watched show that we've ever had, right?
Yeah.
Where he's eviscerating me. He's tearing me down, even though I was agreeing with him. He called me a moron, but that's one of my best friends. Last night, Pledger and I on the phone at 11 o'clock talking about things, and I made a comment about Sochan, comparing him to Angel Reese. And I want to get into that a little bit because Pledger lost his mind when I said it. He basically called me an idiot at that point, and we're yelling at each other. We yelled at each other for about 30 minutes. And then I went back at him and I said, not all your takes are good. In fact, I had an excellent take about one of your favorite teams that you were absolutely wrong about. Let's revisit this. And we were laughing and laughing last night about how our phone call was essentially a podcast yesterday of each other talking and screaming over each other's heads. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. We're going to talk pop culture as well.
Look at this. Tim Gonzalez is asking already. Hey, Joe, when I call the show, can I ask a question on there?
Yeah.
You absolutely can.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Bring a take. As Jim Rome said back in the day famously, have a take, do not suck.
And what we're going to do is we're going to give people a couple of minutes, man. We're not going to let you ramble on for 15 minutes. You got like 2-3 minutes tops. Come in. We'll be a part of the show, but we have other people that want to talk as well.
You got 15, 20 seconds to ask something. Make
come
a
on,
comment.
Man. Yeah.
Tomorrow's the 4th of July. It's Independence Day. It's a federal holiday. We're going to talk about the movie Independence Day because, Joe, I watched it again this morning, probably for the 100th time.
July 2nd is when they arrive, right? That's what it said in the movie.
It's when they arrive. And, I still laugh at the fact that Jeff Goldblum's dad thought that he worked for a cable company.
Oh, yeah. He's a cable man.
He's a cable installer. I also like to talk about the fact that Will Smith's character, like he was going to give up his NASA dream because he liked a stripper. Come on,
bro. The heart wants what the heart wants, Mike.
Exactly.
Come on.
And do you know what this heart wants? This heart wants Jeff Garcia from Lockdown Spurs.
He's going to be coming in here, man.
Jeff Garcia, Jefe, who, by the way, yesterday celebrated 8 years with Locked On Spurs.
8 years.
8 years.
I didn't know that Los had been on 8 years. I mean, I know Jeff had been doing it for some time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But 8 years, he's almost at a decade. 2 more years, that's 10 years.
That's 10 years
in the game,
giving us that Spurs content, and he does a fantastic job. He was busy on draft night, that is for sure.
He's been busy since draft night, with all the rumors.
He's going to get in right around 10-15 or so.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and reach out to him probably around 10-13, 10-14.
Okay,
I'll reach out to him, get him on here, get him in standby because he's only got a couple minutes with us. I think he's got about 15 minutes. He's got a heart out.
Okay, so you can be part of the show, by the way, by reaching out to us on our YouTube stream. We have a chat line open right now. A lot of the usual suspects are here. Chris Leha coming out and saying, call it the Diamond Hard phone line.
Hey, I like that. You know what, Chris?
I don't mind.
We might do that. It's going to be the phone lines are open. The Diamond Hard phone lines are open. Sponsored by MCS General Contracting.
We could do that.
And you know what? That's one thing that we're going to get into too. We're going to start talking a little bit more about that. But if you want to sponsor the show, the one thing that we do different here that other people don't is that they're like, hey, give us your money and we're going to go ahead and slap your name up here and we'll run an ad or so and you're going to be, mentioned on the show. I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to raise the bar, and what we're doing is we want to help your business grow along with us. So we're going to do a lot of things that are going to be interactive. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to offer everybody who says, sponsors the show the ability to help you grow your social media presence online, because we have software now that we can offer to people who come in and sponsor us. And it's going to be social media software where they can use a calendar to go ahead and schedule their post for the whole month.
Very nice.
Who does that?
It's not your show. It's not my show. It's the people's
Belongs
show.
to the people. Yeah.
It's the people's show. We're going to encourage people to be successful in what they do, especially if there are sponsors. Lots to get into today. I know we're going to ask Jeff Garcia about the Lori Markkanen rumors going on right now.
Reach out to him. And speaking of Diamond Hard, we're going to go ahead and just pause real quick, and that way we can give us some time to get Jefe on the line and also give some shout out here to our sponsor, MCS General Contract.
Let's do it.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
I like the idea of naming the phone line the Diamond Hard MCS General Contracting line.
I do like that.
I like it too, man. Do we have Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs on?
We have Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs on. But before we bring him on, we got to introduce him proper.
Let's do it.
Let me go ahead and get the...
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
My man.
What's up, dude?
Dollar bill, y'all. Congratulations, Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. 8 years at Locked On Spurs. I know you told me yesterday when you saw it, you were startled. 8 years, my man. Well, how do you feel?
I feel old.
What you're saying is that you were a young man
young
when this
buck.
all happened.
I still remember the day where I got hired. It was a phone interview, and I was in New York City, in Queens, and it was just thought in the air that maybe this thing can work out, and it's worked out. But yeah, but thanks to you, thanks to Joe for making that video for me, and also you two both for being consistent guests on the show since its inception, and to every single guest that we have brought, from Jack Thompson to Pledger to fan episodes. I mean, seriously, it's just one after another, but we appreciate it. But yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Who would have thought that 8 years later you'd have the nicknames Jefe,
Jefe.
the Godfather?
that I wouldn't Godfather, all that stuff. Yeah, man. And that just shows you that I'm just been doing this for way too long.
And
he
also
has his own intro music too.
he has his own intro. He's Moneybags.
Money.
I mean, he has multiple nicknames. Jeff, last Utah Jazz perspective, we kind of gone off the air real fast. From the Utah Jazz perspective, and
We're off the air?
no, we're on.
Okay.
So we went. I'm looking from a Utah Jazz fan perspective. I'm not a fan of the Jazz, but I wanted to see what they're talking about over there. And it's kind of weird because Salt Lake City's newspaper over there basically said that the Jazz are in a no-win situation right now when it comes to Lori Markkanen. That he doesn't fit what Danny Ainge and the front office over there wants over there, and that it was a swing and a miss because they wanted all of these different players. They were hoping to flip them for a big player. Never happened. And now they're looking at Golden State. Now they're looking at the Spurs for potential trade. If I had to ask you a percentage, just personal opinion, a percentage chance do you think of a deal's going to happen with the Spurs, where would you put that at?
Whew, that's a really good question. Man, 60%.
60.
Only 60.
That's 60. Well, that's kind of high for me.
I don't know.
I'll take it. Now, this is Jeff Garcia, who, by the way, retweeted my tweet from a couple of days ago where I said, Brian, right in the front office, punt. That's what they're doing. Because essentially that's what would happen, right? It's either going to be Lori Markkanen with the Spurs, or they're going to punt. There's no option behind it that is of any significance.
What cautions me is that the Spurs have been making it very clear they're not going to rush this, and they're not going to skip steps. This would, on paper, be skipping steps. So there's that. That's why I say about 60%. Because, man, if Wemby's on board, you do what Wemby says, and if he says bring in Markkanen, you do bring in Markkanen, and I don't care if it takes giving up Vassell. You do that.
Let's give some love to the Lord Czar, who's a new subscriber.
The Lord Czar, I like that name.
Already coming in with a comment. It's a good one. He says, give up some of the war chest. Don't empty it. Do not give up the 25 Atlanta pick. And that's where I'm at as well.
That's where I'm at too. I don't want to give up that. That's where, if Utah is asking, hey, give us Vassell, give us some of your second round picks. But look what we're dealing with. We're dealing with Danny Ainge. He fleeces everybody left and right since his Boston days now in Utah.
He just wants picks.
Yeah, and Danny Ainge is that guy. He likes to get picks, but at the same time, the problem with Danny Ainge right now, for him, from his perspective, is that he might lose leverage in this whole game because Lori Markkanen is in the final year of his deal. Theoretically, 11 months from now, he could get nothing for him. And every day that goes by, it's like a game of chicken, right? And I guess his idea would be, let's pit the Warriors against the Spurs. Well, the Warriors only have their own picks, right? They only got like 4 first-rounders the next handful of years.
Yeah, the Spurs should be in the driver's seat for this.
Most definitely. Definitely. But the Salt Lake City Tribune was going out saying that they wanted to go get a bigger name. This was supposed to be, you have a guy who averages 23 points per game, 25.6 the year before, that was an all-star, that we'll be able to flip him, and how the Jazz organization's a little bit surprised by the fact that not a lot of teams are jumping up to go get him. Maybe it's because Lori Markkanen has the tendency to get hurt, played just 55 games last year.
Or maybe it's just because of who you're dealing with, Danny Ainge.
It could be. It's like, that there's certain people who always win bets, right? Danny Ainge typically wins. But if you look at the Spurs war chest right now with the potential of 4 first-round draft picks next year, the Spurs have their own. They have Atlanta's unprotected, which is looking pretty tasty. looking pretty tasty because DeJounte Murray got traded to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Trae Young, not necessarily happy over there. It's a rebuilding situation. That might be a very, very, very good pick in a very strong and deep draft in 2025. The Spurs have Charlotte's top 14 protected. The Spurs have Chicago's top 10 protected. Spurs could have anywhere between 2 and 4 in a stacked draft. The idea of giving up one of those, though, it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's difficult.
Is it really difficult? I mean, outside. I mean, look, let's just say, are you okay with giving up the sell if that's what it costs?
You know what? Why wouldn't Spurs fans want to go ahead and it's going to cost you something? It's either going to cost you picks.
You have to pay to play. You're going to have to pay to play.
It's going to cost you picks, and it's probably going to cost you one of your better players. In my opinion, and a lot of other Spurs fans thinking the same way, the only person who's untradeable on this squad is going to be Wemby. And the other thing is, a lot of Spurs fans want to go ahead and go after Lori Markkanen. Okay, well, if he's going to cost you picks and maybe Devin Vassell, and somebody brought this up in the chat right now, why not go after Trae Young?
Well, the thing about it is that when you look at Lori Markkanen, he fits what the Spurs need. I like the fact that he's Finnish, right? He's from Finland, played ball at Arizona. He's been an all-star. He's a 40% three-point shooter. I love Devin Vassell, okay? And a lot of Spurs fans are in the camp of, well, he's untradeable. Well, if you trade Vassell makes $29.6 million this year, and you have Markkanen making like 17. So the Spurs would actually need to get more from the Jazz to even out the salaries. But ask you the question, who would I rather have? Vassell or Markkanen? I'd rather have Markkanen because 7-foot players who can knock down three-pointers at a 40% clip are not very common.
Yeah,
they're not common,
and nobody's scoring on in the interior with those two guys.
We just got a new subscriber as we're doing the show right now. Thanks to our new subscriber, Steven Chan. Thank you so much.
So, I don't want to give up Vassell. I'm not saying that should be the first option. The first option should be to unload a Keldon. It should be to unload a
Danny Ainge going to want Vassell.
He's going to want Vassell. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a deal breaker.
Me neither either. I don't think so. I think the deal breakers are the first round picks with Atlanta next year.
Is Jeremy Sochan a deal breaker?
No.
See, and you know what? I how dare you say that? Because a lot of Spurs fans are going to be like, oh no, he's the second coming of whatever. Now, did you see that video of Jeremy Sochan? And I'm going to call that up right now. Did you see that video of Jeremy Sochan practicing 3-point shots?
I put it up on.
Okay,
I put it up on social media.
Yeah, I'll show it.
I'm putting it on right now.
Go ahead.
What did you think of this shot? Because to me, it looks a little bit herky-jerky.
It looked to me from the angle, it looked like a typical Sochan shot. But then when I kept on re-seeing it, like rewatching it, I should say, I was like, I mean, he could have just been messing around, in practice.
But look at it. You could see that the one-handed, free throw is still there.
But look, there's no smooth motion at all. This is Kyle Anderson 2.0. This is Sean Marion-esque. This is
that was the worst shot I've ever seen in the NBA.
Now people will say Jeremy Sochan improved his 3-point shot from 24% to 31%, right? And they'll throw that stat in my face. They were daring him to shoot. He shot 31% unguarded. Like whenever he shot a 3-pointer, no one tried to block it. If he becomes a relatively decent 3-point shooter and then they actually challenge it, it's going to be a little bit different. But I'm watching this video and I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is going on with that shot? And, and why would he fool around at practice? And he's doing it repeatedly. Like that's the form he's trying to get. I don't like it at all.
David Atwater saying there's a hitch in his shot.
That's true.
They said what Sam Salinas says. What's with the hesitation? He's telegraphing that shot. How many times will that be blocked?
It's Fernandez coming out and saying Spurs probably want to give up Keldon and picks. Utah probably wants Devin and picks. A good compromise to me would be Jeremy Sochan plus picks. My man. And that is Fernandez, huge Spurs fan, huge Sochan supporter.
I'm looking at the head-to-head stats with Vassell and Markkanen, and it's not even close. It's an upgrade. You talk about points per game, career-wise, 18 points per game for Lori, 13.6 for Devin. Rebounding 7.3 for Lori, 3.7 for Devin. Looking at field goal percentage, here we go. 46% shooting from the field, 44%. So I guess maybe kind of close, but 3-point percentage, still close. 37% for Lori and 37% too for Devin.
But if you go the past 2 years, though, I mean that's career wise to when they
That's
were rookies.
You're going to give us the EFG?
If you go, well, the EFG for Lori Markkanen is
for, Lori
58%. 58%.
Well, I got EFG for Lori at 55%.
That's career.
I'm doing career. Yeah,
I'm like Janet Jackson. I'm a "what have you done for me lately" kind of guy. Last 2 seasons for the Jazz, Lori Markkanen made an All-Star team in 2023. He averaged 25.6 points, was 39% from 3. Last season, averaged 23.2, was 40% from 3, 39.9. I rounded up to 40. Also got 8 rebounds and 2 assists and 1 steal per game. They say that he's not like a very, very aggressive person when it comes to the boards and whatnot, but he's still getting 8 rebounds a game while being a 7-footer from young core. When we talk about the Spurs young core, the building blocks and whatnot, why does this is a building block? This is somebody, again, that 7-footers don't grow on trees. 7-footers who could knock down threes at a 40% clip. Dude, JJ Redick and LeBron James talking about Lori Markkanen just 3 weeks ago on a podcast. JJ asked LeBron James, who's one of the greatest players of all time, asked LeBron James, who are players that you like to see, that you are in awe of? First person he named was Lori Markkanen. So you're saying we don't want to give up a Devin Vassell, a Keldon Johnson, give up some picks, a Jeremy Sochan for somebody that LeBron James, when asked who's the one player you're in awe of, he said Lori Markkanen. Okay, we don't want to give up picks for that guy. Get out of here. That is the foundational piece. Lori Markkanen, along with Victor Wembanyama, you can build around that.
Like Tony Ornelas says, give up Collins, Keldon, Malik, and picks, and there you go.
But that might not be enough. We're talking about Danny Ainge. I mean, and how many picks does it take? And let me ask you this, Jeff. Which pick would you rather give up? If the Spurs had to give up a 2025 pick, would you rather give up the Spurs' own pick or Atlanta's?
That's a good question. Man, part of me wants to say Spurs because they can do the tanking if they need to.
Right.
So I might say Spurs, yeah.
I would rather give up the Spurs pick. I think Atlanta's in the toilet right now. And I don't see them having a life raft out, at least this season. And this would be a win. This would be a W for Brian Wright, who got that pick from the DeJounte Murray trade. Mm-hmm. It's going to take some draft capital. We got to spend it on somebody. And I went back and forth with somebody on Twitter yesterday who was like, no, you can't unload all these pieces. You have to unload them at some point for somebody. Essentially, if you look at it this way, the Spurs got rid of that number 8 pick, Dillingham, that Spurs didn't even pick him. They picked for Minnesota. The Spurs actually got Chris Paul for him because it's basically a swapping of the salaries for the most part. Mm-hmm. But you look at what are the Spurs going to do? The idea of the Spurs are going to bring a big name free agent to San Antonio. Why would we believe that? Tim Duncan is a top 5 player, in my opinion, in NBA history. He never brought a big name free agent to San Antonio. And by the time LaMarcus came over, LaMarcus was, Duncan was in year 17 of his career, 16, 17 of his career. That doesn't count for me as being part of, it's a big name free agent going there for the purposes of playing with one of our superstars. If Tim Duncan could not attract big name free agents, why are we going to think that Wemby will? So if the Spurs are not going to get a top 20 guy, if the Spurs are not going to get a Jaylen Brown, a Jason Tatum, if the Spurs are not going to get a Joel Embiid, a Paul George, or any of these big names to come to San Antonio, guess what? We have to look at players number 20 through 30. And that's where Lori Markkanen resides.
Yeah, and look at what David Outwater's saying. He says, there's no good free agents in 2025, so might as well get Lori. And that's the thing that everybody was looking at. Oh, the 2025 free agent, free agency class is looking great. Well, not anymore because a lot of these players are starting to re-sign with their said teams, So a lot of these free agents, big name free agents, are kind of coming off the board. If the Spurs are going to make a move, it's going to have to be now, in my opinion.
Yeah, some of the big names include Jason Tatum, LeBron James, Paul George. We saw yesterday Donovan Mitchell come off the board.
Re-signed.
I mean, a lot of the big names that were there for 2025 have gone, and it's because players want to re-up. Now, that's one thing about Lori Markkanen. 1 year left on his deal. He's going to want to re-up. How much is he re-up for?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could get him cheaper if you get him, and you trade for him right now. You get a 1 year rental. You entice him to stay in San Antonio. He likes it here. Maybe get a good price for him.
You probably add the extension on the back end.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be in the range of 30 to 38 million.
And also, if you're Lori Markkanen, which team is on the rise and which team's on the decline? Either you can, or just flatlining, or just at a stalemate. Utah that is there. Maybe they might have a good season, but the last couple seasons hasn't really panned out. Then there's the reported that Warriors are all in. Do you really want to go to the Warriors or shell themselves, or you want to go a team on the rise? So there's that also as well.
And then the one thing I was going to ask you, Jeff, is I know Spurs fans don't think this is sexy by any means, any stretch of the imagination. But DeMar DeRozan, former Spur DeMar DeRozan, is out there right now. And if somebody was to go ahead and pick him up, realistically, what they could do is the same thing the Spurs are doing with Chris Paul, and bring a savvy veteran back on a 1 year deal as a 1 year rental. And he could probably be had for a cheap price. Would that be a move that you think would be smart by the San Antonio Spurs if they were to bring back one DeMar DeRozan?
I guess he would kind of open the floor spacing for Wemby, the mid-range at least. Is a veteran, but no, I think you might pass. Because where the minutes going to go to, somebody's going to lose minutes at that position, that 2 spot there. There's City Sissoko, which I think he deserves more time heading into next season. Of course, there's KJ, there's Castle. What if Castle comes out to be 2 guard? Well, that's his fit. Wemby was all no, don't pigeonhole me. I'm not a 5. I'm not a center. Well, guess. To take away minutes from Castle.
Now you mentioned Castle there. Castle's been at the complex there, the Rocket Lock and Terra, just knocking down shots after shot after shot. What are your thoughts of seeing Castle over there work out? Your initial impressions?
That video you're referring to is my video that I shot of him knocking down shots. Yeah. When I saw him knocking down shots, he was hitting them from deep 3. So, it wasn't like he was in close mid-range. He was consistent with them. Now, granted, there was no crowd. There's no defender on him. He's putting his best foot forward. But the shot didn't look too terrible mechanic-wise. Fine, maybe some fine tweaking, a little bit of a hitch. But no, I think the whole notion of him not being able to have a good shot is not valid. I think you give him some time in training camp with the coaching staff. Take a little bit of lumps maybe to start the season, and I think the shot will be fine. The Spurs have worked wonders. Sure, I understand Chip England was here, but if you just look at basic free throw shooting, they corrected Jeremy Sochan's free throw shooting from 2-handed to 1-handed, and it's panned out.
I was going to ask you, Jeff, one of the things they said was a weak spot for Castle was his 3-point shooting, but they showed him at the Rock shooting 3-pointers. His form looked great in the video that I saw. So if that's the weakness to his game, it looked pretty good to me.
Yeah, like I said, you just want to go to my profile on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. You'll see the video.
Yeah, we're watching some of the video right now.
Oh, you're watching it right now? Okay, thanks.
So I'm looking at the officials, by the way. One of the officials I called 3 basketball games with last year. They have on there. He's a varsity official here in San Antonio. He also does college basketball as well. I'm being for real. One of the officials that's on the court doing the scrimmage that the Spurs are doing, the video that you're showing, one of the officials is a member of the San Antonio chapter of the San Antonio Basketball Officials Association. He's one of the head guys. So I just saw him. I was like, I know him. I call games with him. So that's very cool. Talking to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. This is great video, by the way, at the Rock of Lock at Lock and Terra.
Yeah.
Stephon Castle, I was a big fan of. That you and I were talking about Stephon Castle for months before this happens, and this is why I take some pride in it. I'm like, I saw like that was the guy I was focusing on in the draft from like December, and it happened, and it made me feel happy as a Spurs fan. He's going to be a good addition to this team. I think a Drew Holiday kind of player,
and he plays defense.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought up that name because I had Locked On UConn host jump on Locked On Spurs this past Monday, and he gave his comp right now. Like he said, right now he is Drew Holiday. There's no give him a few months and maybe All-Star break he'll become a Drew Holiday. No, he's saying he's Drew Holiday right now.
Right now,
yeah.
He everything. Yeah.
Hey Jeff, I know that we're coming up against a hard out for you. So, do you have any rumors, anything else that you might be working on? That you're going to be releasing?
Yeah, I just posted the latest odds. I know Jimenez loves looking at betting odds. This one is no surprise, but what is maybe interesting is just how staggering it is. So the early projections on Wemby's odds at getting the DPOY next season are out. It's obvious, he's leading the pack right now, but it's just how far the margin is. The odd line, he's a minus 275 to win it.
Ooh, wow, that's amazing. Hey,
that's amazing. Yeah.
Do we know what jersey number Chris Paul's going to wear?
We don't know yet.
Yet. He's wearing 3, so if he wears 3, he's going to take that number away
from
Keldon.
He's going to have to pay Keldon.
That is Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. Follow him on Locked On Spurs. I do on Spotify. I do on YouTube. You should as well. By the way, Jeff Garcia had 100 new subscribers last week alone.
Way to go,
more than 4,600 more. I'm talking about you. Way to go to you.
Yeah, you, Jeff.
Oh, me? Sorry. I didn't. Jimenez, you keep up with my numbers more than I keep up with my own numbers.
He likes looking at the stats.
I have an Excel spreadsheet.
Oh my!
You seriously have an Excel? I just, you know what it is? I don't like if I look into it, more than likely I'll probably call Joe ask Joe, like, Joe,
what does it mean?
I have an Excel spreadsheet of all the major podcasts because I want to see how we do in comparison. We're rounding the corner on 1,000, dude. We're at 957 as of this morning.
So what are the latest numbers then?
The latest numbers are
we've seen
723% growth over the last month.
Yeah,
it's been crazy, man.
We've had 50 new subscribers in the last 28 days. We are rounding our corners. We're averaging now. We're on pace now for having, I believe, 24,000 viewing hours for the year.
Yeah, it's way up there.
Yeah, we're getting up. The average viewing time, by the way, of our podcast is 24 minutes. That's
pretty. Are you already monetized already?
Almost get to 1,000. We're 43 away.
Yeah, okay. But the thing is that we're already making bank off of the super chats alone, so that's a good thing. It's the support of the viewers that are actually helping the show go.
Do your viewers buy all of those coffee things that y'all promote?
Yeah, buy me a coffee. They sure do, and they send us super chats. We get alerts every time somebody sends us a super chat, and they like the alert. So sometimes they'll send us 2 or 3 in a row.
This show's been on for 38 minutes. We picked up 3 new subscribers. We're at 960.
Wow,
40 away. I feel like it's a telethon because once we get to 1,000,
the Jerry Lewis telethon.
Exactly. Once we get to 1,000, we're recommended viewing on YouTube, and it accelerates the growth at that point. It's like we've been lighting this, and our listeners have been lighting the fire. YouTube, once we get to 1,000, because of the number of hours that we have, viewing hours, they throw the gasoline on top at that point.
Nice.
And we also, because we have great guests like you, Jeff, that come out on the show and help the show go.
And
you get wrestlers on there. What else you got? You got the
Jesse James Leja.
Leja.
Danny De La Paz, an actor, producer.
With Frank Harris.
Frank Harris.
More big names.
My favorite one is still the Von Erich one. Because I was watching that one, and I keep on seeing Jimenez. Like, do I stop this guy from talking, or I let him just go on?
No, you let him go. You let him go.
That is Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. Hefe, money bags. Thanks for being with us, my man.
No problem, guys. Talk to y'all later.
Thanks,
right,
Jeff.
Appreciate it, man. If you go to my screen, got some breaking news coming in. NBA got a Woj bomb coming in. The LA Lakers have hired Nate McMillan and Scotty Brooks as top assistants on JJ Redick's new staff, both of them with head coaching experience. So we talked about JJ Redick having no experience going to LA. He's LeBron's buddy, LeBron's co-host on the podcast, coming out and saying, Nate McMillan, Scotty Brooks, come help me out. This is a great move for JJ Redick, man. This is a long-term move. I like it, Joe. What do you think?
Oh, I like it. I think it's a good move for him, man. He needs to add some experience to his roster.
Midtown Texas with a super chat.
Look at this.
$1.99.
Look at this. It's hilarious. Sam Salinas. This program is made possible by contributions
From
from viewers like you.
you.
And then after he said that, Midtown Texas.
Keep the telethon going. Mario Cavazos, Jefe is the best. That is true.
There you go.
Now we talk about the Lakers. You see LeBron James signing a 2-year deal for a little bit north of $100 million, right? It's a 1-and-1 deal. Player option at the end of year 1, which I guess theoretically means he can be a free agent at the end of this year. Bronny James signed a multi-year deal with the Lakers. I can't find anywhere how much it's worth, but the thinking is
it's the rookie maximum or the rookie deal.
the rookie minimum for a second round draft pick is the same as what City Sissoko signed with the Spurs last year. So 1.9.
That's not very much over in Cali, man.
Well, I mean, when Daddy's making 52,
yeah,
I mean that says a lot.
Right now, he's making the equivalent of somebody who's kind of like middle class over in California after
wow.
taxes.
Isn't that sad?
I'm being honest, because once you factor in all the taxes that you're hit with in Cali, I mean that's like really that 1.9 million. It's like maybe somewhere in the neighborhood of what 700,000.
Yep. Former Spur Kyle Anderson signed a 3-year deal for $27 million to go join the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are trying to pick up players to offset the loss of players like Klay Thompson, right? And if Golden State's going after other players as well, how are they going to be able to get Lori Markkanen involved? It's because they're not afraid to go over the cap. They're not afraid of the first apron, the second apron, the luxury tax.
Jeez.
They're going to spend their way, because we said yesterday that the era was over, the dynasty was over, because Klay Thompson is no longer there. He signed a deal with the Dallas Mavericks. But Golden State with Steph Curry. Steph Curry is what, mid-30s? He's still a very good player.
He's kind of winding down a little bit. You can see that, he's not as explosive as he once was. But, I mean, he has a lot of other tools.
But I give respect to that organization. They're not closing the curtain just yet. They're going to say, Steph, Draymond, I know we're on your last legs. We're going to make sure that we can just keep it going. Now, I like this, man. We can keep this going. John G saying, $1.99 super chat just for the good vibes.
Keep the telethon going.
My man, I got some money in my back pocket right here because going to Vegas tomorrow, baby.
You got your envelopes?
Got my envelopes. I actually got to separate the money and put them in there.
Do you tell the story of the envelope? The envelope story?
So I go to Vegas, right? And what ends up happening is that sometimes you go to Vegas, and especially when you go with your guy friends, one of them will blow their wad early on.
Oh,
right?
yeah, man.
They will be broke within 24 to 36 hours because they don't pace themselves. So I put money in each envelope for day 1, day 2, and day 3. And if I spend day 1 and super chat from Seth Elias for $1.99, very nice. Keep it coming, money bags. If I run through my envelope, Joe, I'm done for the day. I go hit the pool.
You're like, I'm done. That's it.
I go hit the pool. I'm not going to be broke on the last day. I'm not going to be broke halfway through the trip. Now, what confuses me or what scares me, Joe, is the way back from San Antonio. I'm coming in Sunday night, or actually Sunday morning, rather. If I'm coming in Sunday morning, we have Hurricane Beryl, which could be coming through Texas at that point. What if I have to stay an extra day, Joe? If I have to stay an extra day, I may as well hang out with Fernandez when the Spurs Summer League starts. You know what? Fernandez, if you're here listening, if I break even or better over there, I might just stay.
Hey, you might, and the thing is, Fernandez knows all the hot spots, and he can get you good deals on your hotel stay. He'll tell you, hey, man, stay here. It's a nice hotel. It might be a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it kind of evens out because of the amenities, and then the close proximity to being able to get those videos and those pictures with the players and the coaches. The guy's, he's an unbelievable dude. He knows everything.
Bring the content is what we're going to be doing over there. By the way, did you see this video last night? Las Vegas Stars, this is courtesy of ESPN. Las Vegas Stars, Aces rather, taking on Caitlyn's team, the Indiana Fever. Caitlyn turns the ball over and basically skins her knees. Yeah. And the Las Vegas Aces player pretends, acts like she needs to tie her shoe. And what she's doing is letting Caitlyn recover because this hurts. Going full speed and oh my god, and she's like, oh, I got to tie my shoe. Give Caitlyn some time to recover. Finally, an opponent. The Aces, by the way, back-to-back WNBA champions that respected her. Okay. Now, the one that respected her and still kicked her ass last night was Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum was on fire last night. Kelsey Plum, former San Antonio Silver Star, was just brutally destroying Caitlyn Clark last night.
She's a nugget, dude. Does she not ever look not hot, dude?
Dude, she's amazing looking last night. But last night, Kelsey Plum basically made every single shot. It got to the point where the Fever had to basically play a zone defense because Caitlyn couldn't keep up with Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum, 34 points on 11 of 20 shooting, knocked down 6 of 11 three-point attempts, had 6 rebounds and 5 assists, a 34, 6 and 5 stat line for Kelsey Plum, and she looked great doing it. Asia Wilson, best player in the WNBA, had 28 points. Aces beat the Fever 88-69. Fever dropped to 8-13, but are still in contention for the final playoff spot. Caitlyn Clark, you look at the stat line, and it sounds good, but she played awful last night, so it's kind of weird. 13 points on 4 of 12 shooting, only made 1 out of 7 threes, 11 assists, 6 rebounds, right? But the thing is, she had 6 turnovers. There was a point, Joe, in last night's game, end of the third quarter, relatively close game at this point because it didn't get blown out until the fourth.
Yeah. That's when the wheels fell off.
This is where Pledger got mad at me.
Oh, no.
Caitlyn Clark refused to shoot the ball from midcourt to end the quarter.
Why?
She was wide open. She was at the midcourt line, and she didn't shoot it. Her teammates, they're going, like, literally did the gesture, like,
shoot.
You want to shoot that thing? Instead, Caitlyn just threw the ball off to the side to end the quarter. And I made the joke. I was like, is she trying to, like, help her stats out by not having a missed shot? Pledger, who, by the way, was our guest 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And he and I argued with each other. He argued with me. I was just there smiling.
Yeah.
But we had a long conversation about Caitlyn Clark last night. And I was like, man, we're having a radio show in the form of a phone call.
Yeah.
We were laying haymakers on each other. And I was basically saying, and I tweeted this out yesterday, how is Caitlyn Clark simultaneously so good and so bad at the same time? Caitlyn Clark was 6 turnovers yesterday. Joe, I'm going to give you some stats here.
Yeah, hit me with the truth.
Okay. Well, first of all, remember that video we just showed of Caitlyn Clark?
Yeah.
Right? Let's show it one more time. What forced this turnover? What forced this turnover? We're going to play it again here. What exactly forced this turnover? As I'm watching the game, was it her teammates?
Nope. She just tripped on herself.
She just tripped her. Dude, she does this all the time. It was bad play after a bad play. Now she somehow got 11 assists, but she's a lazy passer, dude. She passes the ball so lazily.
So Ornelas says she is more good than bad, Mike.
I agree, but Ornelas was also on my Twitter threads yesterday, basically saying, "Oh yeah, well, you know, Diana Taurasi is the all-time leader in turnovers, right?" And I did the math, right? Diana Taurasi is the leader in turnovers, a great WNBA player, right? All-time great, will be a Hall of Famer. She's an all-time turnover leader, right? But she did that over the course of 2021 seasons. At the pace Caitlyn Clark is at right now, she would break the all-time record by year 6.
Wow.
By year 6.
I'm sure she'll get better. I think it's her rookie season, and what she's doing she gets ahead of herself, man.
See, Pledger was trying to come at me and go, well, Wemby was 3rd in the league in turnovers last year. Like, no, there's something different here because Caitlyn Clark averages 5.6 turnovers per game. 5.6. This is a 40-minute game, not a 48-minute game. 5.6. The second worst is Alyssa Thomas. 3.9.
But she can shoot.
Well, no, but that's go beyond all that. Go beyond all that. It's not like, oh, well, Alyssa Thomas averages 3.9 and Caitlyn Clark is 4.0.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, well, they're at least close.
I get what you're saying.
5.6. And if you want to do like raw numbers here of turnovers, it's absolutely insane. Caitlyn Clark right now has 118 turnovers on the season. Alyssa Clark has 75. Julie Vanlo is 3rd with 64. Think about that. Caitlyn Clark has more turnovers than the players that are number 5 and 6 in the league combined. 118 in 21 games.
I kind of agree with Lord Czar. He says, dude, she is not going to be turning the ball over that much as she grows. She is a rookie on a bad team being asked to run the show completely.
The turnovers that she's doing, though, lazy passes.
But it's
she
not just
doesn't,
her, it's her teammates
she
as well.
doesn't protect the ball.
But
And Pledger was coming at me yesterday going, well, we see a lot of we see these passes that her teammates just can't catch them. She's so cerebral compared to them, and they can't catch the ball that she's throwing at them. Okay, that might have happened 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. But the vast majorities of these turnovers are she doesn't protect the ball. She's a bad passer, which is weird because she gets a lot of assists, but she's a lazy passer. She had 6 turnovers yesterday. There were about 3 that should have been turned over that didn't happen because an Aces player bobbled the ball. Dude, I'm a little bit concerned about Caitlyn Clark. Am I off base here? We got a $4.99 super chat from Tex-Mex Frank.
See what he's saying. Thanks, Tex-Mex Frank.
Says
Appreciate you.
says I want in on this telethon. Viva los muchachos of Alamo City. Over under Mike Spence winnings on Haktua. Wow. Spit on that thing.
That's what you're going to spend the money on?
Spit on that thing. Now, let me ask you this, Joe. Let's go over Caitlyn Clark's stats and let's. Who is the one that you would rather have winning Rookie of the Year? And let's get the dramatics about, well, this person brings TV ratings and all that stuff, because it is not a TV ratings award. It's an award for play. At least we hope it is anyway. Because if that was a thing, it would have been Wemby over Gobert for Defensive Player of the Year, right? Rookie of the Year, Joe. I'm going to give you some stats here. Caitlyn Clark averages 16 points per game. She's an all-star, by the way. Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese, both named to the all-star team, the only rookies on the team.
Okay.
Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese will actually play on the same team. So they'll be playing together for once. 2 different types of playing, right? Caitlyn Clark is outside, knocking down threes, more of a point guard. And then you see Angel Reese play like Rodman. She's just defense and rebounds.
Yeah.
It's a different type of game. But look at these stat lines here. Caitlyn Clark is averaging 16 points per game. She's averaging 5.7 rebounds, 7 assists. So a stat line of 16, 7, and 5. Shooting only 39% from the field. But turnover-wise, 5.6 per game. By far the league leader in turnovers. Meantime, when it comes to Angel Reese, came out of LSU, also rookie, 13.2 points per game. Leads the league in 11.8 rebounds per game. Leads the league in offensive rebounds per game. Gets a steal and a half per game. So a stat line of 13 and 12.
Okay.
She also has the WNBA record for most double-doubles in consecutive games at 11. The all-time record's 12, split over 2 seasons, but for a single season record, 11's the record by Angel Reese. She's doing it as a rookie. Joe, handicap this for me, because right now the odds-on favorite to win the Rookie of the Year is Caitlyn Clark, but does Angel Reese have a shot?
I think Angel Reese does have a shot. The important thing to remember here is, and a lot of these comments have me in stitches right now, by the way. Look at what they're saying. Mike is flip-flopping again. He used to be Caitlyn Clark's biggest fan. He gets la chancla. And you know what? Before the season started, you were all in on Caitlyn Clark. She's going to change the game. It's all about her. She's going to get all the attention.
And I'm not saying that she's a bad player.
She's a great player. Okay, I get all that.
Did I say she was a bad player?
No, you didn't say she was a bad player.
Are people reading between lines that didn't exist?
So the thing is now you're like, well, look at Angel Reese, and it's like you got to pick your fighter, man. Like, I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, it's like, who are you going to go with? Who are you all in with right now? Are you with Caitlyn, or are you going to go with Angel Reese? Because right now, I wouldn't be opposed to Angel Reese winning the Rookie of the Year.
Look at Angel Reese's stat line last night.
Yeah.
In the Sky's victory over the Dream, 85-77. Caitlyn Clark, 12 points, 19 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks. So what pissed off What pissed off James Pledger yesterday from San Antonio Sports Star, again, he's the host of Extra Innings, 6 to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday,
That's our
94.1
guy.
FM. That's our guy.
Yeah.
I told him this, Joe, and I want you to look at me when I say this.
God.
I told Pledger, and Pledger lost his mind yesterday.
Oh, my goodness.
I told him Angel Reese is who Spurs fans think Jeremy Sochan is.
Oh, no, man. Come on, Mike. No, they know what Jeremy Sochan is. Come on.
I mean, because we hear all this all the time. Well, Jeremy Sochan has this, that, and the other. He's a defensive player. He gets boards. He does this. He does that. Good team player. Everyone loves him. All that stuff, which a lot of it's true. But when I said it to get a rise out of Pledger. I said it to piss him off. But the more I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute. Kind of is. Because wouldn't you want to have that stat line from Jeremy Sochan? 12 points, 19 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks. Isn't that kind of what we want from a Sochan? Because we call him Rodman. We say he's kind of a Draymond Green Rodman type.
Spurs fans call him Rodman because of the color of his hair. But beyond that, he is not a Rodman-esque player. He is not Rodman.
Yeah.
But the thing that Jeremy Sochan can be is he can be that double-double guy. If he can put up 10 points, get you 10 boards a game, that's great, dude. And he can play defense and do the little things.
Yeah.
That's his role, and I would be fine with that. But at sometimes those Spurs fans want a little bit more out of him. But I'm like, that's not what his role is supposed to be. He's supposed to do the dirty work down low, get those rebounds, bring bodies, help the team out, set those screens, do little things. And I'd be fine with that. If he has 10 points, 12 rebounds a game, great. 12 points, 10 rebounds a game, great. As long as he can put up double doubles, he's going to be in that starting lineup.
Caitlyn Clark right now is minus 600 odds to win Rookie of the Year. And you can get 7, 8, 9 to 1 on Angel Reese. I'm going to get that bet in.
Okay.
I'm going to get that bet in.
So now you're going to go with your LSU girl.
My girl, baby. My girl. Tony reaches out and says, you were the GOAT on sports news, Mike, but how many rookie mistakes you make your first year on radio? Lots of them, dude. I had no experience. On radio. At least these people have experience of playing college ball and high school ball.
What was your first experience on the radio? Because I know when I was on the radio too with Chris Duell, right?
Yeah.
Doing the Spurs React show. My first experience on the radio was like, man, I'm nervous. But then I was like, it's just like talking with a bunch of people in a room.
Right.
The thing is that conversation is being broadcast all over San Antonio. So my first outing probably wasn't my best, but then I got a little bit, I got better as I kept on doing this over and over again. But what was your first experience like getting on in that studio, getting that mic in front of you?
Well, part of the experience was going through the interview process. So when I won Rock the Mic back in the day, they brought me into the studio to talk to Jason Minix and Rob Thompson. That's one thing. But to actually do a show, I was the third wheel on a show that RJ Ochoa and James Pledger were doing called the Saturday Morning Hangover. And they're friends. But, sometimes you can have like mutual friends, but the connection's a little bit different depending on who's talking to who. I connect very well with James Pledger because when he talks to me at a certain wavelength. But when he talks to RJ Ochoa, it's a different wavelength. And RJ is brilliant mind, bloggingtheboys.com. He was a co-host with Rob Thompson earlier this year.
Yeah.
I was intimidated by RJ Ochoa because RJ Ochoa, when he talks about sports, he talks about it from the perspective of, he would bring out like stats like DVOA and all that stuff. And I'd be like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And he's like an encyclopedia of sports. He's a talking spreadsheet. And there is a place for that. I understand it.
Yeah.
And I think RJ Ochoa is amazing, right? But I could never be a really good co-host with him because like it's not my personality to dig in the weeds that way as well as he does. If I was to do it, it'd be digging in the weeds. When he does it, it's seamless because that's just his personality. But the one time I had a thing with RJ, I made him laugh. And it was the funniest thing because he chuckled. And it was the first time I had said something where it made him laugh. He chuckled, and then he went, and then it grew faster and faster and faster until it was uncontrollable laughter.
Yeah.
like I got him with a stinger. Like I was like a, I don't know. It was an interesting joke. There were several layers to it. I remember. I don't know what I said, but it was an avalanche of a laugh. And the second that I got that avalanche of a laugh, it made me feel more comfortable. Doing sports talk radio, doing a podcast is different. And having my own show. I mean, dude, I went from a nobody in radio to somebody who had a show on San Antonio Sports Star that was highly rated for a long time, and people give me crap on Twitter.
It was an award-winning show at that,
and it was also very, very highly rated.
Yeah.
People try to give me crap on Twitter. I don't care, dude. To be honest with you, I kind of like the life outside of the radio. It was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
But doing radio, and doing podcasting and having the interactions with everybody on here, this is a community, man. This is a fun thing to do. And it's bringing up these conversation points that, dude, I bring up with Pledger whether we're going to be on the radio or not. I bring up with you or Spernandez whether we're going to be on the radio or not. We would have an argument about Caitlyn Clark. You look at Caitlyn Clark last night, and you go, wow, she had, 19 points? But look at all those terrible passes.
Yeah, or turnovers, like you're saying.
Turnovers, just protect the damn ball. And then you look at Angel Reese, who, again, I do have an affinity for because she went to LSU. My daughter graduated from LSU in December. So I watch a lot of LSU basketball. I watch a lot of games like that. And I'm a big fan of sports. And I'm just calling stuff out. Now, somebody asked the question, how could I last officiating a WNBA game? One game, yes. I could last also an NBA game because the officials don't run very far. There's 3 officials, right? It's only a 50-foot run.
Yeah.
I can survive one game. JHNSB, nobody listens to radio anymore.
Well, if you look at seeing what's happening with the new cars now, like Mike Taylor was telling us, a lot of these vehicles now, they don't have a built-in AM radio.
They don't
need it.
And if you look at certain cities like Miami with Dan Lebitard, what radio station is Dan Lebitard on? He's not. He's online. He's YouTube
with Stugotz. Yeah,
who I got to meet last year. It was amazing.
Yeah.
People thought I was excited about meeting Paige Sporonic. I was more excited about meeting Stugotz.
And the Dan Lebitard show is actually a really good show, man. They keep things moving. It's fun to watch them interact with each other and also the audience as well.
Stugotz is great, dude, and he's the complete troll. He's the ultimate troll.
Yeah, he is.
People think that like, oh, Jimenez, you're trying to be Skip Bayless. I'm more
Skip Menace.
I'm more Skip. I'm more Jimenez Gotts. I'm more that Jim Gotts.
We need to get Shannon Sharp that little audio excerpt of him saying Skip every time you start flip-flopping, man.
Yeah. So Pledger was after me yesterday because Skip Bayless yesterday tweeted out there about Caitlyn Clark saying, quote, Skip Bayless saying, I'm sorry, but Caitlyn Clark sold out another road arena in Vegas and once again disappeared in another fourth quarter. No offensive urgency or energy, won't shoot. So many careless turnovers. Something's not right here. And Pledger sends that to me and goes, this is why I call you Skip. You had the exact same take. And of course, I had to put on the Spider-Man GIF.
Oh, man.
Us staring at each other.
Look at what Pledge is saying, man. He's coming in hot already in the chat.
Says, Angel, 39% from the field. You lost the ability to bitch about players' effectiveness. Oh, by the way, what is Caitlyn Clark's efficiency from the field? 39%. That's what she's shooting for the year, too. It's the exact same thing. Okay, now one shoots better efficiently because of three-point shots. I do get that. But Angel Reese, 19 boards. And everyone says this. Well, she's getting her own rebounds. That's why she has 19 rebounds last night. Shut up.
I like this new nickname by Bear County Social.
Stu Menace.
And if you don't know, go and follow our boy, man. Or, Bear County Social Apparel. Doing great stuff. Has a lot of great merch. Go ahead and give him some love, man.
Let's talk about some entertainment, man. Let's get that entertainment
The
bump
entertainment bump. We'll get it going here.
MCS, General
Contracting. Not that one. Where you get entertainment.
And, tomorrow is July 4th, right? Today's July 3rd.
July.
So 4th of July, national holiday, federal holiday. It's going to be Independence Day. And it got me thinking about the movie Independence Day because this morning I went on Hulu. First thing I do when I wake up every morning is I watch the fine ladies from the Weather Channel.
Of course.
Not the Univision girls. I like the educated girls, right? So I go onto the Weather Channel, want to see the latest and greatest when it comes to Beryl, which, by the way, looks like it's going to just basically kill, the island of Jamaica, which I was at 2 years ago.
Did you see all the spaghetti
Models
and stuff? It's all over the place.
Okay, so first of all, one of the meteorologists today on the Weather Channel was saying that people ask the question, why is there a cone of uncertainty? And he said something that I thought was hysterical. He said, oh, you mean you want us to explain why it's hard to figure out what's going on with a storm that's spinning on a planet that's rotating on a plane of water? He goes, of course it's difficult to figure that out, right? Since there's so many different variables about other weather patterns going on.
The jet stream and all sorts of stuff.
That stuff.
Yeah.
So the tracker's coming on in, and this is USA Today's tracker right now, saying that you know what? It looks further north by the hour. So it's basically saying that it's going to be kind of coming in somewhere south of Brownsville as of now. And if it hits Brownsville, that means we're going to get a bunch of rain.
That's what you said last time. And what happened? We hardly got any rain.
We got a couple of inches.
It was like maybe an inch and a half.
But it's a last minute turn.
Yeah, I mean, it's welcome rain, nonetheless, right? It's better than what we got right now. We got nothing.
But here's the look of it right now. This is according to the Weather Channel right here. That Beryl's going to be coming in through the Yucatan, going to go through Jamaica, through the Yucatan Peninsula. Ooh, let's turn that off. And it's going to somehow, some way get to Mexico, maybe Texas. Am I saying that we're going to be devastated? No, they're saying that if it hits Texas, it's going to be maybe a Category 1 or a strong tropical storm. Okay, we need rain over here. But I woke up this morning, turned on the Weather Channel, went over, and I said, okay, go to Hulu. Because I like Hulu. That's my favorite of all the streaming services, right?
Yeah.
Front page was, do you want to watch Independence Day?
Of course.
It's 6 a.m. Damn straight I do. I hit enter. It starts off Jeff Goldblum, Will Smith, Vivica A. Fox. That Bill Pullman?
Yeah.
And watching the movie all over again. And this is the best part of movies from the 1990s. Even the bad ones were kind of good. Armageddon is a stupid ass movie.
It's a stupid movie.
I mean, Ben Affleck goes off and makes fun of that movie.
Yeah.
But watching Independence Day again this morning, it's the perfect popcorn flick.
Exactly. It's a popcorn flick. You don't ask questions. You just enjoy the ride.
You don't ask questions like, if you had the goal of becoming a NASA astronaut and you knew that being with a stripper was going to be detrimental, why would you work so hard and then date said stripper? Okay. Other things about, like, how did Jeff Goldblum's dad not know that his son was not just a cable man? How was Jeff Goldblum able to get so close to the White House in a time of crisis like that?
I mean, I've been to the White House before, man. They have that street closed off, bro.
How was Randy Quaid's character so drunk that he was able to land that plane when he crop dusted the wrong field?
That's my boy right there, man. He's having a good time. Even though he crop dusted the wrong field, he's like, oh. And what does he do?
Yeah.
Take out his little bottle.
Yeah. How was he able to go from crop dusters to flying F-16s and being able to fire off missiles after about 3 hours of training?
He almost fired off one right out the gate, dude, when he was on the ground.
How did the president, who was a fighter pilot in Vietnam, able to suddenly fire off missiles off of an F-16?
And why was he even in a plane?
With these evasive moves, right? Where they had to go do that, I think I got one more in me. Fire at will.
I thought it was great because I think this was the inclusion of, like, because I think this is around the time that they were getting pressured. The government was getting pressured,
to
come out and officially declare that there is Area 51, and they used that name here in the movie. And I think it was like a couple of years after that, they finally said, yes, there is an air base called Area 51, you know, and they finally were forced to finally confess that there is an air base, you know, called Area 51.
Now, let me ask you this. How is it possible that the quote of the movie was not by Will Smith, not by Jeff Goldblum? Wasn't it done by, who was that singer? Harry Connick Jr.
Oh, Harry Connick Jr.
Time to light the tires and kick the tires and light the fires.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know what? The one thing that is odd in this whole movie is that speech. It's one of the greatest speeches, right?
Is it
In movie history?
Is he the greatest president in fictional president?
And it's in this freaking movie, Independence Day. You know, like that gets you fired up when you hear it. You know, and it's just odd. Like, why is that here? You know?
Well, okay. So first of all, the '90s presidents were amazing because we had Morgan Freeman in Deep Impact.
True that.
We had Michael Douglas, the American president. Which, by the way, okay, which is the better speech? Is it from Independence Day, like you were saying? You know, we're gonna survive. It's our Independence Day. You know, it's a worldwide Independence Day. Is it that one, or is it the American president? Sydney Ellen Wade has not done anything other than to put herself in school and live her life. Come after me because she's out of your league. That's a great line, right? Yeah. Best president. So reach out to us. Who is the best president?
Tim Robbins and Austin Powers. Oh, look at Lone Star gave the best speech. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, like Independence Day 100. Everybody likes Independence Day. That's a movie you're gonna watch.
What about Dave? I like the president, Dave. Kevin Kline. Remember the story goes, the president is screwing some mistress.
Yeah.
Ends up having a stroke, and they find a lookalike to come in and pretend to be him.
Mm-hmm. And
it's with Sigourney Weaver.
Yep.
I like that movie a lot.
Hey man, the thing with Sigourney Weaver, she got hotter as she got older, dude.
She did.
Right? When she was younger, she was
Alien, not so hot.
But as she got older, she got hotter, dude.
It's kind of like Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, true.
Jamie Lee Curtis, I mean, don't be wrong. I mean, I guess she was okay in trading places.
Yeah.
But then later on, you know.
True Lies.
Good Lord.
Look at those juggies. I know that's what everybody was looking at.
So goldderby.com has an article ranking, and this is actually an article from this week. Goldderby.com, which talks about gambling for the most part. Gambling and reality TV. How are they not on our show? Asking the question, what are the 15 best fictional TV and movie presidents of all time? At number 15, they've got Morgan Freeman from Deep Impact. Number 14, Jamie Foxx from White House Down. Haven't seen that one. I've seen a lot of the White House Down movies, but I haven't seen this one.
That one's a good movie, man. I can't believe you haven't seen that one.
I see the Has Fallen movies, like Olympus Has Fallen.
Olympus Has Fallen.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Number 13, Gina Davis as Mackenzie Allen in Commander-in-Chief. That was a decent show. Didn't really get into it too much, but from what I saw of it, she seemed to know the part. Number 12, John Travolta as Jack Stanton in Primary Colors. I love that movie. Came out in 1998. It's basically about Bill Clinton. I mean, it's basically about Bill Clinton being a dog and having a mistress wherever he goes. And it's basically, I mean, it's a book that doesn't say Bill Clinton, but we all know is about Bill Clinton from somebody who knew Bill Clinton.
Does the president play the saxophone?
Does not, no, but he plays with women, that's for sure.
Oh, man.
Number 12, Jack Nicholson in Mars Attacks.
This is one of those B movies, dude.
You can just tell by that photo right there.
Yeah.
Number 10, Jeff Bridges in the movie The Contender. I like Jeff Bridges, the actor. I've never seen this movie. If you've ever seen Against All Odds, probably my favorite Jeff Bridges movie. Yeah. James Woods, by the way, in that movie was amazing.
Yeah. My favorite Jeff Bridges movie is going to be The Big Lebowski, dude. Dude.
I can't watch that movie, bro. Dude. I try every single time, and that dude from Roseanne shows up, and it just pisses me off, man.
I have a friend that acts like him, dude. That's the funny part.
There is no actor that just gives me the ick more
John Goodman
than John Goodman. Man. And which is funny because I like the movie Flight.
Yeah.
And then when Denzel Washington needs cocaine inside the hospital, they bring in Goodman. I just skip through that, man. Don't want to hear him. Billy Bob Thornton's number 9 of the best fictional TV or movie presidents of all time, according to GoldDerby.com, for the movie Love Actually.
Yeah.
Number 8, Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Selena Meyer in Veep. Love that show. Love that show. She's great. Number 7. This far down, Bill Pullman on Independence Day. I would have said top 3, dude. I would have said top 3. Peter Sellers and Dr. Strangelove. Number 6. Dennis Haysbert as President Palmer in 24. I can see that. Kevin Kline in Dave. Number 4. Little high. When I said I liked him, I didn't think he'd be top 10, but still.
He was a good actor back in the day, man.
Ooh, Harrison Ford as
Hey.
President Marshall in Air Force One. Get off my plane.
Hey, that was a good movie, dude.
No doubt, dude. Harrison Ford. Bill Simmons on ESPN.com back in the day, Grantland.
Yeah.
He called Tim Duncan the Harrison Ford of athletes. Because you don't know much about Harrison Ford. I mean, he's never in the tabloids.
Yeah.
I mean, he was with Calista Flockhart. I think he still is.
He still is, yeah.
But he says Harrison Ford's best movie and worst movie are identical in like how good he is. It's always top tier.
Oh, he had an awful movie that he was in, some type of rom-com or something like
but
that.
It's very rare.
It was horrible. It was so bad, bro.
But he was saying Tim Duncan's best season and worst season are almost identical.
Yeah.
Like it's all about consistency. Number 2, Bear County Social Apparel says Will Ferrell in The Campaign. That's funny.
The Campaign. Oh, gosh.
Number 2, Martin Sheen. It's President Bartlett in The West Wing, which also resurrected a lot of other careers beyond Martin Sheen's, Rob Lowe's being one of them. And number 1, according to GoldDerby.com, the best fictional TV movie president of all time, Michael Douglas as President Andrew Shepard in The American President.
And you know what?
I'm going to go get the guns.
I've never seen that movie.
It's a great movie.
Never seen it.
It's a great movie. I will say that probably if you're to say like, it's not in my Mount Rushmore of 90s movies. I mean, off the top of my head, my Mount Rushmore of 90s movies would include The Matrix, Fight Club, Swingers.
What's the one with Jim Carrey?
White Men Can't Jump.
What's the one with Jim Carrey where it was a reality show?
Oh, Truman Show.
Truman Show.
That's also
that was a good one.
That's also in my hierarchy there.
Yeah.
But if you were to say favorite romantic comedies of all time, I think The American President's up there.
American President. What's that other one with Will Smith?
What's that?
And the guy from
The Men in Black?
No, King of Queens. What was his name?
Oh, I
remember they did a romantic comedy, and that was funny too. I forgot the name of it.
Like
though.
Hitch?
I think it was.
American President. It's basically the premise of The American President. It's about a president who gets elected to a second term in office, and it happens to happen when his wife dies. So the first lady has died, and now he's the first bachelor president in like ever, or in century or decades, or whatever the case may be. And it's about him falling in love with a lobbyist and how he kind of kept, instead of focusing on his job, he focused a little bit more on the fact that he was hooking up with this one girl that he was falling in love with, and he lost track of his job.
Yeah.
And now you have people on the other party coming in, trying to tear him down and trying to ruin the rest of his presidency. And can he juggle both? Can he be both a president and a boyfriend at the same time? Michael Douglas, though, if you want to talk about an actor from the nostalgic from the 80s and 90s,
yeah,
Romancing the Stone.
Hey, those
was a great movie. Jewel of the Nile, Joan Wilder.
That was such a movie that was just way out there. It's just funny, man. And the actors they had in there were legit actors. I think that's what made the movie better.
Had the guy from the Three Amigos.
Yeah.
You know, El Guapo. John Wilder está aquí. John Wilder está aquí. That's a great line. That's we read all your books. I read all the guys on Saturdays.
We need to watch that. I need to watch that again. The Three Amigos. That's such a great movie, dude. It's funny, man.
Oh, Three Amigos is one of the greatest movies
all the
of
lines.
all time. And I can line for line watch that movie and know every single line.
And it still makes you laugh.
It's great. It's great.
What does it say? We have gringos falling from the sky.
Yes, Wapo, we do. You know, do you have any beer? We don't have beer. We got tequila. It's kind of like beer. My little buttercup has the sweetest smile.
That's such a great comedic movie, man. It's funny.
Sam Salinas reaches out and says, plethora of piñatas.
Aye, there you
Mario
go.
Cavazos coming out and saying, I need you to review. I'm going to get you, sucker. Now, here's the thing. I do movie reviews of movies I've never seen before. And maybe we'll bring that back. But I'm going to get you, sucker, is a movie that I have seen. And I love, dude, the whole scene about when he goes back to the hotel with that girl, and that girl takes off her wig and takes off her leg and fake eyelashes, fake butt, fake boobs, and she's just like this disgusting figure after all. That's great, dude. Garrett saying Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah, Robin Hood Men in Tights.
That's a good movie, dude.
One.
That's a good movie. A toll is a toll and a roll is a roll. And if we don't get any tolls, we get no rolls.
Look
I
at
made that up.
Tex-Mex Franks. He goes, I appreciate you fellas providing the entertainment and sports takes. Mike, have a safe trip and hit it big.
Dude, hit it big for me will be breaking even, man. I know what's up. I just want to slowly lose my money in Vegas, dude. And if I come back with my money, dude, I have come back from Vegas with more money, but it's always the people who play slots, and it pisses me off because slots don't do it for me, man.
Slow and steady wins the race.
It's somebody like my mom, my aunt, they'll go like, oh, we won $7,000 in a slot. I'm like going $7,000. I'd run naked through Fremont Street if I won $7,000.
Yeah.
Super chat, $10. Sam Salinas says, here's my telethon contribution, but use it for seed. This is Vegas. Put it France winning gold in basketball.
Take this to Vegas.
Vive la France. I like it. Joe?
I like it, man.
Are we going to do a $10 bet? Because Sam Salinas says this is for France winning the
Vive la France.
Let's look that up real fast.
Hey, you know what? One thing we got to do too is we got to give some love to Jefe, man. I'm going to go ahead and give some love to Locked On Spurs.
Yeah.
Locked On Spurs is... Oh, let me go ahead and change the screen. This is not working here. Now I can do it.
Let's do it.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@LockedOnSpurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
I subscribe on Spotify and YouTube, and you should too. Here are the odds right now, according to covers.com, of who's going to win the gold medal in basketball at the Olympics here in the next couple of months. Team USA at minus 390. So basically you have to bet $390 to profit $100. Canada coming in at 8.5 to 1 odds. Serbia 10 to 1 odds. France, vive la France, at 12 to 1 odds. Then you've got Germany at 18 to 1. I like France at 12 to 1 because they've got 2 7-footers down low. Who are the 2 defensive players of the year? Yeah, the defensive player of the year and the runner-up. Who are they? Gobert and Wemby. And they're together on the court at the same time for France. In a smaller court, more condensed. It's not as wide, not as long. And also, the lane is smaller.
Yeah, it is.
I like the bet.
And look at this. You got another super chat here from Midtown, Texas. $4.99. He said, telethon bet, $5 on black.
Okay, that just reminds me of Wesley Snipes. Always bet on black. Dude, 90s movies were the best.
They were, dude. Like the early 90s, late 90s. They started getting into the 2000s fiasco, and some of those movies were just god-awful, man. I think that's when they started getting a little too cute with the CGI and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it wasn't good anymore. But one of the things that we are going to touch on, probably maybe on when you come back, maybe on Monday's show, is we're going to talk about the San Antonio Spurs and them, I guess, talking with city officials about building that new arena that's going to be hopefully downtown, right where the Institute of Texas Cultures is. But nobody went there anyway, and we'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about who's going to pay for it and about, all the information that we have so far. And we'll leave it up to the viewers too, and push it back to them and tell them, what's your input in this, because everybody has a say in this, because we're going to have to vote on it sooner or later.
So the AT&T Center, now the Frost Bank Center, had a hotel motel tax.
Yeah, they did.
And the same went for the Alamo Dome as well. So basically you're taxing tourists, or if you're having a staycation here in town, there's an additional tax to help pay for.
I think they did the same thing with SeaWorld back in the day as well.
May have.
Yeah.
So if they do something like that, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. People come by and they stay at the Hyatt downtown, the JW Marriott or wherever. Tax them. I don't care. But some of it has to come from public funding. And there are going to be people out there who are like, well, we have potholes. You don't give a shit about potholes. You're just bitching to bitch. Dollar. Yeah. I'm sorry for cussing. Some people will complain about, well, we need this, that, and the other. And it's like, dude, you don't care about this, that, and the other. Because if you did, you would have raised a stink about it before this happened. You're just against said politician. You're just against the Spurs, or you're against this and the other. Well, billionaires we don't have the richest owners. I mean, I guess we do now that the Austin money's come in, right? But it's not like they have full control of the team. It's different, man. And I've said this before. I'm going to quote myself. If the city of San Antonio did not have the Spurs, we would just be a bigger Laredo.
Yeah, and look at what Mario Cavazos says. We need to have the world's largest plate sale to help pay.
No lies detected there.
And look at this. Sam Salinas says he saw something about the arena that they want to build downtown as it being the second most expensive arena in the NBA at $1.2 billion. And that's the price tag for a new arena in today's market.
Yeah, and it always goes
billion.
over. It always goes over.
Yeah.
But you have to look at it this way. It's also a 30-year commitment. So whenever you have a team, when the Spurs got the AT&T Center, or back in the day was what, the SBC?
Yeah.
When they got it, they signed a 30-year commitment to be with San Antonio. So we build them an arena. They're not going to leave in 3 days. The contract, I believe, that the Spurs have with the city of San Antonio runs out in 2032, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's coming up, dude.
And arenas have a shelf life of about 25 or 30 years. AT&T Center, Frost Bank Center, whatever you want to call it, time's up.
Yeah, and you know what? The San Antonio Spurs and the city, they pump money into the Frost Center, which was the AT&T Center back in the day, to give it a little bit more shelf life.
Now,
but
it's not like I'm saying implode the Frost Bank
Center.
Oh,
no.
The Frost Bank Center will still be used. It'll just be used at a different capacity.
For venue. It's a venue. They can use for concerts and stuff.
It's like a house that's already been paid off.
Yeah.
Same
thing with the Alamo Dome.
Rent it out.
Yeah.
The Alamo Dome turns a profit.
Yeah.
You can turn the Frost Bank Center into a concert venue. I mean, it's already a concert venue, right?
Yeah.
But think about it this way: 41 days out of the year, if you include the periods of preseason and then playoffs,
rodeo and whatnot,
that's like 60 days that are off the board. Now you're going to be able to say, hey, look, let's host this and that there. Why wouldn't they host things like, I don't know, state championship games of high school basketball?
Yeah.
Why not have college games be played there?
High school. It could be used for a bunch of different things. And the thing is, for many years, what's been the biggest faux pas that Spurs fans have is when the team goes on this rodeo road trip, you get them a new arena downtown. They don't have to share that with the Freeman Coliseum or the rodeo. That rodeo road trip, it goes bye-bye.
It's a beast, and it does go bye-bye. I hadn't even thought about that. That's a very good point. Go ahead and do it. Sam Salinas says the Frost Bank Center will become Joel Osteen's expansion church. More money, more money, more money.
Where they're going to put a spirit. They're going to turn it into Spirit Halloween.
Exactly. Sham Charania of The Athletic is reporting that Bronny James has signed a rookie contract with the Lakers. Per sources, 4 years, 7.9. 4 years, $7.9 million. Team option in 4 seasons. So really, it's a 3-year deal with a team option for year 4. We talked about City Sissoko's deal at 1.9. 1.9 times 4 is essentially 7.9.
That's a lot, dude. For somebody who really hasn't done much.
I know, averaged 4.5 points per game in college. The player that averaged 15 at USC did not get drafted, but
there's other players that are more deserving of this than Bronny James.
it keeps LeBron happy. And we look at Giannis's brother Thanasis up there in Milwaukee.
He asked for a trade.
he hasn't. No, he hasn't played he doesn't play much of anything. Does not start. But Thanasis is still on the team because you know what makes his brother happy.
I thought I saw somewhere where he had asked for a trade. I don't know if it was a spoof or what. You can't trust things nowadays. You got to fact check it.
I saw this post the other day saying that every time Bronny James scores, he breaks an NBA record. God. And the NBA record is the number of points scored by a father and son tandem. Like Steph Curry's dad's Del Curry.
Yeah.
We're in there. Well, LeBron has more points because he's the league leader all time in NBA points.
Yeah.
He has more points than any father-son duo in NBA history. So every time Bronny makes a layup, every time Bronny makes a free throw, he technically breaks a record.
Yeah, and it was Tim Gonzalez. He had said that too in the chat too, right there. Bronny signs a 4-year deal with the Lakers worth $7.9 million. He was telling us.
Hey, Sam Salinas asked a good question. Does Terry Crews as president Idiocracy count? That's a great line. Love that movie, man. I had an ex-girlfriend show me that movie, and I never thought it would come to life. Because that's where we are right now. We're in Idiocracy right now.
Idiocracy. Hey, you know one thing that we're going to do too is I want to see if I can do this. Give me a second here while I switch because I still have Jeff's stuff up on the screen. Mm-hmm. So let me go ahead and change that. Here we go. We'll get rid of all this. All right. Now that I've gotten rid of that and that, now I can go ahead and put up what I want, which is going to go ahead and be sharing our screen because one of the things that I want to do is I want to bring to light some of the things that we have going on here with our merch and stuff, So we want to go ahead and give that some love. So let me go ahead and get that going. But in the meantime, we can go ahead and keep talking about what we're talking about.
Dude, Lori Markkanen, will he be a Spur? Jeff Garcia said 60% chance. I'm surprised he went that high.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. 60% chance. I'm going to put it at 40%.
Yeah.
And it's not because I don't think it's going to happen. It's because I think that Danny Ainge is Danny Ainge. This could be a situation where Brian Wright is knocking on the door, making offers, and Danny Ainge is being a dick.
Yeah.
I mean, that is very possible.
Yeah, so one of the things we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and show everybody what we got going on beyond just our merch store. We also have the Alamo City's Podcast Network website. And one of the things that we do that a lot of people don't realize is that we broadcast live audio of this show directly on the website. So if you're on the go, and you might necessarily be able to listen to us because we're on Facebook and Twitter and what else, YouTube, you can go ahead and go directly to the website, hit play, and the audio from the show will play for you. So you can listen to us on the go. The other thing we got going on is we got a merch store. So if you want to go ahead and check it out, here it is. It's on Fourth Wall, and we'll go ahead and also share. Let me go ahead and move this. We'll go ahead and share the link because I have the link right here, which I'll go ahead and share with you guys. You're seeing my show notes here, but you can also go to Fourth Wall here and check out the merch that we have. If you like any of the shirts, go ahead and purchase them, and you'll go ahead and get them in about 5 to 11 days. But we have a bunch of designs in here, and we have the updated Alamo City's Sportscast logo, and we also have some other designs here that you can see. You can see our wares.
The updated logo is the shirt that's $22. There's a $20 version and a $22 one. The updated logo one's $22. Mario Cavazos was wearing it. He went to our Spurs draft party. He was wearing it. Looked, as the kids like to say back in the day, he looked fly.
It looked good. I was like, wow, man.
It looked good. I ordered my shirt. I got a message yesterday saying that it's in transit. They get shipped out of Irving, Texas. So not that far of a transit there. So hopefully I get it, because if I get it today, I could wear it to Vegas.
Yeah, there you go. I need a good Mia shirt too. I need to get me a couple, man.
Fernandez needs to get a shirt so that he can go and promote us while in Vegas.
So make sure you go and check the merch store out. Shameless plug here, but either way, it helps the show grow. I mean, we don't really get a lot of money from selling these shirts. It's more for the fans. So go ahead and take it out. Take a look at it.
It's the goodwill. It's
Yeah.
letting people know that we're here, letting people know that we are expanding. Now 960 subscribers strong. We are 40 away from 1,000. Hit the like button on the way out.
You have
Hit
that
the
video.
subscribe button. Hit the notification button to let you know that the show is starting at 10 o'clock.
Look at that picture of Sith that you have right
The
now.
USOA champ is here, baby.
USOA champ.
why does he get like nice photoshops, whereas the photoshops I get are of me outside of a sex store, me outside of a massage parlor? Why is it that my photoshops aren't as nice?
Because that's where you are at on the totem pole right now.
So I'm not a member of USOA.
No, not by any means, any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I got to give him my boy Leha because he got a surprise for me, man, and I got to pick it up. It's a surprise. You'll find out.
Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs, Ken's 5. Don't forget to subscribe to him. He has an article on Kens5.com where an odds maker predicts that Wemby will be Defensive Player of the Year next year, and the odds aren't even close. Like, he is like beyond the odds-on favorite when it comes to it. No show tomorrow. We will be back on Friday. It'll be Fernandez and Joe going toe-to-toe.
And we're going to have our in-studio guest who's going to be John Dyer. So it's going to be a Puro Exit 7 edition.
Nice.
Yeah.
I am going to be on the road going to Las Vegas. I got my money right here. Got my extra envelopes over.
What time's the
in the
flight
car.
leave?
My flight leaves at 6:40 in the morning.
Oh, God, dude. No. That means you got to be there at least an hour before.
Well, my friend Myra just sent me a text message right now, and she was saying, here's what it looks like at the airport right now, and it's a massive line at the airport, and they're saying that the airport was so busy this morning that the line to get into TSA stretched the full length of the airport.
Oh, I know what they're talking about.
You know, normally when
Yeah.
you go through, it's like, okay, 10 people, 15, 20 people, and then you're in
It's
line.
bad now.
This looked like a line like you're going to get on the Rattler.
Okay,
the
so-
Superman.
So let's put this in perspective for people who are used to going to the airport. So when you go to the airport and you go in and you know where your flight is, it's going to be Southwest or whatever, and you park nearby, you go in.
Yeah.
And if you have something to check in, you check in your luggage, right? You go and you got to wait in line for that. You get your little tags and all that. You go and wait in line, you get in there and you put your luggage there. So the line for the TSA is further down on the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that line for the TSA is stretching from that far side of the airport, going past the Southwest Airlines and everything else, all the other airlines where you're checking in your baggage, and it's going further down there.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's just extremely long. Because when I've gone in the morning, and it's been like maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, where I show up and my flight might be leaving at 5 or 6, the line is long. It's surprisingly long for being that early in the morning.
Yeah, it's a holiday.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
You might have to get there 2 hours in advance.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah.
But I'll be in Vegas tomorrow. Maybe I'll call in on Friday. Maybe not. You know, we'll see. It's a Pluto Exit 7.
Pluto Exit 7. You could talk. We'll bring you into the phone.
There you go, man. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Again, we're taking calls on Friday. It's going to be a new thing. Everyone be nice and be good when you're doing it. Don't ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah. We're just doing our calls once a week, you know, and this is because the fans have asked us for this continuously in the chat. And we tried doing the phone call thing way back when we first started, and we didn't have the fan base that we do now. So it didn't quite work out. But now fans want to call in, they want to chime in. We're going to go ahead and do that. So it's something exciting, something new. But we're not going to have you on if you're being obnoxious, you know, like, come on. You only have a little bit of time to be on. So whatever sports take or whatever question you're going to ask us, make it quick.
Real fast before we go, Clutch Points has a tweet out right now saying that, and I saw this earlier this morning, that the Golden State Warriors are also in talks to get Buddy Hield in a sign-a-trade. And if that happens, it says, quote, if the Warriors can pull off a sign-and trade for Buddy Hield, that will not put them out of contention for making another big move on the trade market. The front office is being aggressive in the pursuit of more talent, which is why Lori Markkanen is a very real talent, very real target. As far as what they can offer, they've got 4 first-rounders and several second-rounders that they can offer. But the question is, is there anything the Spurs could give up? We talked about players like Devin Vassell, Keldon, Jeremy Sochan, picks. It's a dance. Golden State apparently is providing the most pressure, but right behind them is the Spurs. And again, if the Spurs don't do this, then officially they've punted.
And I think what makes the Spurs going after Lori Markkanen so attractive prospectively for the Jazz is those picks that the Spurs have that the Warriors don't. But how many of those picks is it going to take you to get and land Lori Markkanen?
Picks and players, baby.
Yep.
Picks and players. Got to go in at some point. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. You guys wish me luck over here. Hey, thank you so much for all the super chats that we got. The telethon. We got to call it that.
Telethon.
Got to do a telethon once a week, man.
Wow.
But everyone have a fantastic day. Have a safe 4th of July holiday. If you're going to go pop fireworks, do it safely. Don't be like JPP from Jason Pierre-Paul from the Giants, who lost a couple of digits.
Yeah, man.
Lost a couple of fingers. Don't throw stuff don't light fireworks in your hands. Don't be a moron. Okay. Watch out for your kids out there doing it as well. Be safe, and also have a water hose handy. Grass fire is going to be coming up like
so
crazy.
Dry out there.
Everyone have a safe holiday. We'll be back on Friday. I'll be back on Monday. Thank you so much for being part of the show. 960 strong. We got to have a party for 1,000.
We're going to get there, I think, sooner than the end of the month.
Yeah.
We're
making strides. We'll be back on Friday.
See you, boys. Peace.